All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Buffalo Bills in today's video. I know we've been saying this for a couple of years now, but it genuinely feels like this is the year the Buffalo Bills at least make it to the promised land. They got a really intriguing match against Baltimore, but they're coming off a 31-7 home victory, a home just blowout performance against the Denver Broncos. Buffalo gained 247 more yards than the Denver Broncos did, which is the largest in club history and the NFL's widest margin in over 10 years. Keep in mind, I know Bo Nix just mentioned he has a back injury. Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos offense was ranked third in scoring from week 11 onward, averaging 32.6 points per game. So that was no fluke. The Buffalo Bills have a really solid defense, but their offense is where you really see why this feels like the year. I mean, it just truly does. They've got a balanced offense. They've got James Cook, who is just, I don't even know how on earth he didn't make a Pro Bowl. Over 1,000 yards, 16 total rushing touchdowns. Josh Allen could win an MVP here, 3,700 plus passing yards, 28 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions, and they averaged 30.9 points per game, which was second in the NFL. And they also average half a turnover per game, which is the best in the NFL. But we'll talk about that in just a second here. The number 2 seed Buffalo Bills are taking on the number 3 seed Baltimore Ravens. And we just saw like an hour ago, the Ravens are now a 1-point favorite at the Bills for Sunday's divisional game. Buffalo has never been an underdog in its previous 18 home playoff games since entering the NFL in 1970. It's going to be a really good game. We're going to talk about it in a little bit about the Denver game. But before we do, folks, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I'll keep it a buck with you. This is my first ever Buffalo Bills video ever. So if we could try and get this to 50 likes, folks, that would mean the absolute world to me. Now, Baltimore blew out the Buffalo Bills earlier on in the season at home in week 4, 35-10. They've also outscored their opponents 163-57 during their 5-game winning streak, and Lamar Jackson has had 15 touchdowns and only 1 interception over that stretch. Now, I think it's a really interesting AFC playoffs where, like Kansas City's biggest or worst matchup is like Buffalo. Buffalo's worst matchup because of defense is probably the Baltimore Ravens, just because it's a mobile quarterback. Lamar's a stud, and they have Derrick Henry. So, for example, the Buffalo Bills were the 11th best scoring defense in the NFL this past year, giving up about 21.6 points per game, which when you're putting up 31, and even just in general, is very solid statistics. But in the offensive passing yards per game allowed, they are 24th in that department, giving up 226 passing yards per game. And then they're also the 12th best rushing defense, giving up a little over 115. They're 18th in sacks, and they're 19th in touchdowns given up. But on the flip side, they are third in total takeaways, averaging 1.9 takeaways per game. Now, that's why keeping it clean against Baltimore is the biggest of deals. And this, just because it's Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens, this might be the best playoff game you see up until the Super Bowl, no matter it's Buffalo. Even if Buffalo versus Kansas City is next weekend or 2 weekends from now, this Ravens-Bills game, honestly, the winner of this might just at least go to the Super Bowl, but they might very well win it all. But the Buffalo Bills were a league best plus 24 in the turnover department during the regular season. They finished third with 32 total takeaways from the defense and first with only 8 total giveaways, which is absolutely insane. And, Lamar Jackson just had a solid game against the Pittsburgh Steelers, but Pittsburgh hasn't won a game in like over a month. Obviously now they're eliminated from the playoffs, but I don't know. I get it. You could probably say similar about Denver because it's a rookie QB and, the odds were stacked against them. But I don't know. A Lamar Jackson Baltimore Raven win over Pittsburgh at home doesn't really do too much for me. Derrick Henry is going to be the name of the game. And this, Lamar Jackson, as we've seen in pretty much his entire NFL career, not giving him any not trying to hate on it, but just when the moment gets big and you start getting into these big time matchups, like the last time Baltimore and the Bills took on each other, Buffalo won 17-3. We saw in the AFC Championship game last season, Lamar just wasn't the Lamar you see in the regular year. So people are concerned with the Buffalo Bills because they're going up against Derrick Henry, and they also think they're susceptible to big time pass plays. And anytime you go up against Derrick Henry, the league's best running back, or number two, right behind Saquon Barkley, yeah, obviously there's going to be a big emphasis and a little bit of a worry because it's such a good player. But that's why I think controlling the time of possession for Buffalo and keeping it clean, no turnovers, win the time of possession battle, win in the trenches. And I just genuinely think Buffalo should handily win this football game. Maybe it's not going to show up in the score sheet. It's probably still going to be a one possession game because that's just NFL. That's especially NFL playoffs. But the Bills' run defense this past weekend, or just their defense in general, reversed kind of this concerning-esque trend. All right. Bills' third down percentage, all right, defensively. Throughout the regular season, the Buffalo Bills only stopped opponents on 42.9% of third downs. That was 25th in the league, and it was also 13th among the 14 teams in the NFL playoffs. Now, the first third down against the Broncos on Sunday was successful for Denver, and it looked like maybe this was, going to continue to shine its ugly head, or however that saying goes. But after that, the Bills really tightened it up defensively, and only one of Denver's next 8 third down attempts were successful. So what you ended up seeing here is, we saw Josh Allen, 20-26, 272 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. James Cook, 23 carries, 120 yards and a touchdown. The Bills ran for 210 yards. You saw it in the time of possession. Buffalo had the football for 41 minutes and 43 seconds, which means the Denver Broncos only had the football for 18 minutes and 17 seconds. First downs were absolutely lopsided. Third down efficiency was lopsided. Total yards was lopsided. Buffalo had 471 as opposed to Denver's 224. I think it can be as simple as that. If the Buffalo Bills, and I'm a Packers fan, man, I don't have any skin in the game at a game like this. It's just going to be, for football fans, for NFL fans, such a game of the year type of situation. But if the Bills offensively can keep it clean, especially if they can force a turnover and just control the time of possession, and that's where guys like James Cook step in, I really don't see why Buffalo won't be taking on, most likely, the Kansas City Chiefs 2 weeks from now. Folks, that's it for today. Hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. If you guys want more Bills videos, let me know down below. But guys, give me a score prediction for this upcoming matchup against Baltimore. Peace.